Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
AI is incredible. It can teach you how to fry an egg and even write a poem, pirate style. Yarr! But it knows nothing about your work. Slackbot is different. It doesn't just know the facts. It knows your schedule. It can turn a brainstorm into a brief. And it doesn't need to be taught. Because Slackbot isn't just another AI. It's AI that knows your work as well as you do. Visit slack.com/meet Slackbot to learn more.
The More Money Show with Steve Moore on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome back, folks. This is the More Money Show on WABC. Thanks again for carving out some time on your Saturday afternoon and listening in. So my next guest is Jennifer Hoff, who is an old-time friend, but she's also the executive vice president at IBC Bank, which is in Houston. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
Based in Houston, but I see you oftentimes in Laredo, which is right on the border. And so there's several issues I want to talk to Jennifer about. Let's start with what's just going on the border. You sent me to the border for about a year and a half ago, and we had a couple of days of amazing. Laredo is right on the Rio Grande, river, so it's right on the border there. And it's one of the biggest ports of entry, right, for cargo in the country.
That's correct.
So what are you seeing at the border? What's your sense of what's going on?
Well, with the trade uncertainty, the volume has reduced a little bit. We used to have 20,000 trucks a day. We're
20,000 trucks a day.
Yes.
So when I was there, that bridge and then the port of entry there where the customs is, that bridge could get backed up 2 or 3 miles long with trucks coming in.
Actually, 8 miles.
8 miles. Oh, my God. So they're waiting probably, in some cases, 3 or 4 hours to get.
Absolutely. Or longer, which is a problem with your cold produce.
Sure is, because it really raises the price of things. So are they going to expand that port of entry so that it's more, it's more speedy?
Absolutely. We have 2 new bridges coming in, the 4-5, which will bring in 12 new lanes and really a big project. So it's a whole center, which is nice. And then one on the other side, Columbia Bridge.
And the economy is doing well there, right?
Very well. Yeah. Very well. Yeah. However, everybody's holding a little. Nervous because of the tariffs. They need to know.
Now, what about with respect to what's going on with the immigration situation and the, we're seeing some of these deportations, which I'm certainly in favor of, securing the border, which I think Trump has done an amazing job, and he's done an amazing job. I think they've deported 300,000 criminal aliens, which I love, but I'm not a big fan of, going into, factories and things and pulling people out of their neighborhoods. But what's going on there at the border, in Laredo with respect to the immigration issue?
Everybody's nervous. There is actually a lot of falsehood on social media. So they're scaring the workers, saying there's raids when there aren't raids. So they don't show up for work. They don't go to shop. So it's hurting.
So it's bad for the local economy.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I hope Donald Trump is listening because he's done such a phenomenal job. My friend Tom Homan, who is, as you know, the head of ICE, has done a phenomenal job. But I think maybe somebody's working and paying their taxes and not involved in criminal activities. I don't understand why you would pull them out of their community.
100%.
Yeah.
And Tom
I knew you would agree with me on that.
Tom is a wonderful guy, but we really need to focus on construction too.
So tell us about IBC Bank.
Well, we are a publicly traded bank focused in Texas and Oklahoma. We're
two booming states.
2 booming states, 75 locations.
Right.
And we're predominantly the largest bank on the border, Texas border.
Yeah.
And
so are you bilingual?
I am not. I am
most people are bilingual, right?
Oh, 100%.
So let's talk about the other big issue that's affecting banks. And that is, I think, one of the reasons you're in town here in Washington, D.C., which is that we have this new proposal from Donald Trump. And I think I was told he got this idea from Elizabeth Warren. So that should warn you folks that this is not a very good idea to put a cap on credit card delinquency fees. And tell us why that's a bad idea.
Well, first of all, it is a horrible idea. And it's kind of what we talk about, Steve, all the time, that every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
True? Yes.
And this is the perfect example. I mean, to the layperson, 10%, that sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
But for operations, 6% is in default, 4% is a cost of money. So you're at 10 right there without any operating costs.
Can I interrupt for 1 sec? So, and the banks don't make money when people default on these.
No.
You make money by having people pay their bills on time, right?
Correct.
So you're saying that even at a 10, 12, 14% interest rate, the bank.
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I had that dream again. My small business needs to hire, but I don't use LinkedIn, and I hire an energy vampire. But also they're a literal vampire. And suddenly my team is spending all their time sharpening wooden stakes and buying bulk silver and rehearsing ancient chants, and then I wake up.
Don't let hiring nightmares ruin your dreams. LinkedIn Jobs' new AI assistant takes insights from over 1 billion professionals to create a short list of the best fits for you. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/quality. Start hiring today with LinkedIn.
Is losing money on these transactions, right?
Absolutely. There's been studies at 36%.
Wow.
And they're losing a lot of money. And it's not really as much as losing money as that the consumer doesn't have credit. It's taken away credit from the low and moderate income families.
I completely agree with that. And I just wrote a piece, an op-ed piece that basically said the big winners here are going to be the loan sharks.
Correct.
Because if you take away, because people... If you put in this restriction that says you can only charge 10% over, penalty for being late on payment, then lower income people with low credit scores will be removed from having credit cards, right? Because they're the higher risk.
Absolutely. And it kind of dates me because when I was going through college, if I had to get a credit card, I had to have a big fee. Right. It's the same thing. And that's what will happen again.
And I tell the story how when I was first arrived, my first job, I was making $18,000 a year. But that was when $18,000 was a lot of money. No, but we were living paycheck to paycheck. Mm-hmm. And we would get paid at 3:00 on a Friday afternoon. And we would have to, this is before, a lot of people had credit cards. So we'd have to sprint to the bank before we get 4:00, 5:00, because the banks were closed on Saturdays back then. If we didn't get to the bank by 5:00, we didn't have credit cards. So we'd literally, be eating cereal for dinner because we didn't have enough cash. And what's really changed, in my opinion, is you've seen a kind of democratization of credit. Now, 80% of Americans have credit cards. And they can, that has really changed the way we shop and buy things. And it benefits retailers. So I don't really understand the logic of this.
There isn't. And, it's been a great service, as you just said, to make people who are credit invisible to be credit visible.
Right. And lower income Americans.
Right. Yeah. The low. Right. I'm just talking about lower and moderate income. Exactly. That's it.
Right.
That they get a free 30-day loan.
And the other thing I would say is, I'm not a financial advisor, folks, that, but my one little piece of financial advice is borrowing off your credit card is not a good idea. You're much better going to a bank or something like that and getting a loan. And a lot of people do fall into that trap, and then they're stuck with these high interest rates. But we need almost financial literacy to teach people, that's not why we have credit cards for borrowing. It's for paying your bills.
Correct. And that's why it was getting much better, and more literacy there's more people spending off monthly. Yeah. But it showed in all these Fed reports that, 38% lost their credit cards when they tried this before in Illinois and Missouri.
How many?
38% of the people lost their credit cards when they increased.
You mean when you say lost, you mean
they could no longer have a credit card. Right? They could no longer have a credit card.
Right. And that's a big problem because, as I said, they say, well, 15, 20% interest is a lot. And I said, that's a big penalty. And I'm like, well, if you go to the loan shark, they're going to break your leg. If you
well, it's also 300%.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't make any sense. And I hope you're successful and we can talk Donald Trump out of this. But my advice to Trump, I wonder what you think about this, is don't take advice from Elizabeth Warren.
Agreed. Never a good idea.
How do you, just in our last 30 seconds, as a banker, how do you assess the economy right now? You have a front row seat being in the banking industry. Are people taking out loans? What do you think of the housing situation, et cetera?
They're still waiting a little bit to see what's going to happen on the tariffs, but they are moving forward. We aren't seeing the prices reduced yet in the grocery stores. They're everyday prices, but we're hoping to move forward. Yeah.
Do you think the tariffs, my argument is tariffs have raised prices on certain commodities, and it's just a tax. I mean, it makes sense. If you put a higher tax on something, it's going to cost more.
Correct. That's correct. I heard Navarro say the other day that tariffs are not a tax. I'm like,
they're a tax.
They're a tax.
They're a tax. A tax is a tax. Hey, Jennifer, thanks for stopping by. Great to see you. Come back the next time you're in town, and we'll finish the conversation. That's Jennifer Hoff. She is Executive Vice President at IBC Bank, a good friend, knows what's going on in the real economy. So thanks for giving us a sense of how the real world is working.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to More Money with Steve Moore. You can hear More Money with Steve Moore Saturday afternoons at 1. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.